This is How to Teach Social Studies, the McCarthyism Sting. So what's the problem? Students have a tough time developing nuanced views when balancing national security versus personal liberty issues. They often default to one of two extremes. Either, what's the big deal if the government spies? If you're not guilty, you have nothing to hide. Or, there's really no need for government spying ever. So, what's a sting? A sting is a social studies technique where the teacher puts the students into a situation that they think is real. What's good about a sting is that the students feel real emotions and have to make real-world judgments. What's bad is this can be incredibly dangerous for your career. Tread carefully. Get your principal's permission and carefully monitor the situation and make sure to stop the sting before it gets out of hand. So here's the McCarthyism sting itself. First, don't return your students' last tests for an extended period of time. And if someone asks you, ham it up and say something akin to, "I'd rather not talk about that right now," and appear angry. Second, on the day of the sting, appear angry. Tell the students that a serious breach of security has happened. Explain that someone stole the last exam and left a note saying something akin to, "Bye-bye, test." Number 3, explain that you have talked to your principal. If the tests are not found, everyone will receive a 0. Let the students voice their distaste and speak a bit out of turn here. Number 4, increase the intensity of the sting in 3 stages. First, ask the students to confess. Explain if the culprit confesses, the other students will not receive 0s. Second, ask the students for information. Explain that you're not asking for them to rat necessarily on other students. Just explain that you would simply like for them to write their name down on a piece of paper and tell me who commonly leaves the classroom last. And lastly, based on the phony results of your voting, call upon one student as the suspect. Bring them outside for a forced bag and locker search that the principal has quote-unquote authorized. Let the students debate amongst themselves while you explain to the student outside the room that this is in fact a sting. So here's some reflection. First, discuss with your students the 3 different stages of your investigation. Which were valid exercises of a teacher's investigatory power? Which were abuses of that power, and why? Second, explain that the students will have to use the same reasoning and balancing act during your class's upcoming investigation of McCarthyism in the United States. Overall, you're going to get them to write and discuss what steps did the United States take to combat communism that were valid, which were over the line, and why. And lastly, as always, after exploring McCarthyism with your class, connect the past to the present. Have your students develop opinions and usually write on the United States' current efforts to fight terrorism. For example, are the NSA's techniques valid or not, and why?